Right guys, welcome back to the video. As per usual, I have no idea how today is gonna go, but we are gonna try our best to modify the drawbar on this thing. Now, a lot of people were wondering why I never painted the drawbar, and it's because I knew that this day was coming up. So as you can see, we've got our storage box sitting on the front there, and our drawbar only comes out to about here. What I've gone out and bought is some 90 MB tube and some 80 MB tube, actually sides in there quite nice. So what I'm thinking about doing is extending the drawbar. So I'll just cut it, bang down the middle there. We want to sleeve each side and extend that out probably about 700, 800 maybe. And then that's going to allow us to actually mount more stuff on the drawbar. And one thing I've always been concerned about is the drawbar weight. I did actually originally plan on putting the battery inside of this box just to keep some tongue weight on it. But obviously we ended up putting the battery inside the trailer just for weatherproofing reasons and simplicity with the wiring. So by extending the drawbar, not only are we adding the weight of our steel, which is quite a fair bit, we're also going to be able to mount a lot more stuff to the drawbar. Now, originally, I bought this caravan water tank here off Facebook, and basically for the whole build, I thought I was going to use it, but I can't find a place to mount it that's actually going to suit the build. The only place I can mount it is under here, and it near comes down to the axle there, so the water tank itself is just too big. Now, it was a 70-litre water tank, I believe, and I was going to hook up a little pump to it, and we were going to have onboard water, which would have been amazing. But my good mate Jesse has given me this 3 jerry can holder, so this can actually mount on the drawbar, and obviously we can have 3 jerry cans full of water, which is obviously 60 litres of water, so it's near that tank anyway. And the good thing about this is they're fully removable, so we can take a jerry can out, bring it around to the back. We can either have taps on them, or I can buy like a little stick pump, and we can actually have running water then as well. Biggest benefit to it is I can pull them out and clean them properly and put them back in. Now the downside to this is they're going to be sitting out in the sun, but I don't have a problem with it. This isn't drinking water, it's just washing up water and cleaning water pretty much. So that's the water out of the way. Now, as you can see, we've got a 33 sitting right there, which is a spare wheel for the trailer. Now, I do really want to carry a spare on the trailer for obvious reasons, but I've never had a place to put it either, and putting it underneath is the same story as the water tank. It's just too fat and it hangs down too low. So once again, thinking about putting it on the drawbar, and it does look a little bit silly because the wheel is actually so big, but I'm gonna pick function over form at this point, and we're gonna mount it to the drawbar, which is gonna give us our tongue weight. We're gonna have 60 kilos plus a 33, plus we're gonna have that rack. And we are gonna have plenty of weight on top of that ball. I don't actually have any idea how we're gonna configure it, if we're gonna have the wheel at the back or the jerry cans at the front or the other way around. But I think the best thing I can do is actually get the grinder out and just start hacking into it, and then just, you know, see where today takes us. That's kind of how we do every other video anyway. So I'm gonna cut this jockey wheel off because I'm actually gonna mount it further up the front and make it swing back the other way, which I'm pretty sure is how you meant to do it in the first place, but I didn't know that, all right? So we mounted it this way. We're gonna flip that around. I'm gonna get the grinder out. I'm gonna cut the dog in half. Then we can extend the drawbar, and we're gonna start mocking up the boxes. Just when I thought the metal work was over, the metal work comes back to kick my ass. What I've done is I've measured this, and it's 300 wide, and that is 220 wide. So with that being 520, I think what I'm gonna do is extend the drawbar 600, and that'll give us plenty of room to actually mount our stuff. What I'll quickly do is I'll cut this piece at 600, and then I'll cut 2 300 pieces for the sleeve. Then I can go ahead and start plug welding it in. I'm gonna get my angle finder out and make sure everything is perfectly parallel. It is definitely gonna be shifting a lot of weight up forward, because this piece here, I reckon weighs probably 20 odd kilos just by itself, and then obviously we're adding in the steel that we're adding in, but it's also moving that 20 kilos way up the front, so it's going to give us a lot of our drawbar weight back. there's actually a lot of angles you have to sort of take into consideration when doing something like that. It can literally move any way, and because it's tube, it's really hard to line it up, but I just used a combination of like clamps, I used my angle finder, and I did actually manage to get it pretty well bang on. So here we go, you can see a fully extended drawbar. She looks extremely long because we don't have the toolbox on at the moment. I actually think it's going to be the perfect length. Now, I did actually add a big chunk of steel underneath. I really like to over-engineer stuff just so it's like peace of mind that it's definitely not going to fall off. So that's why I added those. Sorry to pull you guys out of the video, but it's time to mention the sponsor of today's video. Now, I know that most of you guys are passionate about four-wheel drives or camping, but some guys, believe it or not, are passionate about stealing shit. So Reolink have sent out 2 of their latest security cameras so we can keep all our gear and the shed safe. Now, obviously, I'm all about DIY, and these cameras bring DIY to the security game, and I absolutely love it. And even better to me, they have a solar panel attachment, so you do not need to charge the battery on the camera. Now, if you don't want to use solar, you can just use the internal battery inside and charge it up on a micro USB cord. Now, once you've installed your cameras, you open up the Reolink app here. As you can see, we've got 2 cameras. You click on the one that you want to view. Now, you can either use Wi-Fi or you can just use cellular data, and as you can see, we've got a live feed here now. You can set up notifications when movement is happening. If somebody moves this car, I'm going to get notified. One other feature is it also has a light which you just tap up here and it turns the light on, and then you also have an alarm up there so you can turn on an alarm if you see an intruder. As you can see, the quality of this camera is insane. It's very good. It's time stamped. It's everything that your insurance wants you to have. Now, it's also got night vision, as well as a light on the front will light up if there's movement outside at night. Now, big thank you to Reolink for sponsoring today's video. I'm super happy that we can now keep the shed and all my equipment safe. Now go on, get on back to the video. Now, I'm actually thinking about using this bit of steel and putting it roughly about there, one on each side, and that is going to help the drawbar strength massively, and I think it's also going to help with the aesthetics of the trailer, so it's not just some long bar coming right out. So I'm going to quickly cut those 2 bits of steel and weld them in and see how we're looking. So now we are starting to look a little bit more like a bloody trailer again. As you can see, I've put the jerry can holder in, and I have to put 2 of these little flat bars in. I've actually got the perfect size for that. It's gonna cut them to size, and then they can get tack welded onto there. I don't know if I wanna weld this on, or if I actually wanna bolt it, because jerry can actually has to sit flat in there, and these tabs are in the wrong spot for me anyway, so I might just tack weld that on. Now, I'm definitely thinking that looks good like that, and then we just put the spare tire bang in the middle, which means that we have to make a spare tire carrier. So I'm gonna pull the welding table out, I'm gonna have a quick tidy up, and then we can have a look at how we're actually gonna do that. Right, as you can see, we've got a 33 sitting in front of me. Now, this is a big tire, it's a heavy tire, so we're gonna have to make this quite strong. What I'm thinking is a piece of box up and across with a plate that it actually bolts to. We triangulate and gusset all the corners so that the rocking back and forth isn't gonna snap the welds off. So I'm gonna do some measuring and see what I can come up with. Hopefully this turns out all right, because it would suck if it doesn't. holy shit, I'm bloody stoked with how this has turned out. We have our spare tyre carrier. Now that thing turned out great. I gusseted every corner that I just about could. I've also remounted the jockey wheel in a much better position now. I can actually fold it up backwards. Now, I didn't actually know, but the way I had it before was mounted the wrong way. If this lock here ever failed, you want the jockey wheel to drop back and just skid along the floor. The way I had it, it would have dropped forward, and if you hit a pothole or something, it would actually reef the trailer off the tow ball. And honestly, guys, I am friggin' pumped with how this has turned out. Couldn't really picture it in my head this morning. I did put up an Instagram post to see what everyone was sort of thinking about mounting the spare wheel on the front. As for drawbar weight, we are sitting right on the threshold. I'm barely putting anything on that, and that's without the spare tyre mounted. I don't know how much that weighs, but it's bloody heavy. And then obviously we've got the box as well, and then we're gonna have the 3 jerry cans. Anyway, we're running out of time, so let's keep moving. I'm gonna quickly mount the jerry can holder, and then we can sit the box back on just for now, because I want to get all this painted before the box goes back on. So I'll quickly nail this thing. I'm going to cut off all the mounts. So I'm going to quickly get that done now, and we will have a look when we're finished. As you can see behind me, I've got the trailer out of the shed and it is sitting right in front of me, and I am friggin' stoked with how this has turned out. Honestly, came into this with zero plan and zero idea of how I was gonna go. It's just one of those days where I completely just winged everything. In my opinion, we bloody nailed it. I think it looks sick. So I'm gonna let you guys have a look and make sure you comment down below what you think as well. But without further ado, let's have a look. What do you guys think? I reckon it turned out bloody mint. It's obviously gonna look a lot better with jerry cans in it as well. Definitely drop a like if you guys liked the video, drop a comment and let me know what you think as well. We're honestly not too far away from taking this thing on its maiden voyage as well. We have a couple little things to tidy up, but that was the last major sort of upgrade that we're doing to the trailer. It's just a couple little wiring things and then just tidying up a lot of stuff, and obviously we just got to paint what we just did today. Now obviously a 33 is massive and it does look a little bit massive on there, but at the same time, I think it looks sick. It's definitely nice to know that if we blow a tire, I can quickly change it over, and I've got a spare to do so. But anyway, thanks for stopping in on this episode today. See you guys on the next episode. I'm hoping to take Cole out to Glasshouse actually, so that would be very, very fun. We get to test the locker, we get to test the sliders, and hopefully we're gonna drive some really hard tracks. But that's it for now, so I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.